What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be talking about some of the things I love and some of the things I hate about living in mid-Michigan. I'm going to be going over all the things there are to do. I'm going to be talking about cost of living and just the things that you might not know unless you live here. With that being said, let's get started. So if you've been thinking about moving to mid-Michigan, I'm sure you've already been doing some research and you've probably looked into the weather. With us being in the Midwest, you know that we get some harsh winters. However, the low temperatures and snowfall might not be the worst part of winter here. Even though in January it typically gets as low as 17 degrees and we might get up to 46 inches of snow, the real con in my opinion about winter is the lack of sunlight. Even on the days that it's not snowing, it's unlikely that we're going to get a sunny day. Michigan tends to only get about 65 to 75 clear days each year. You've probably heard a lot about seasonal depression and people complaining about how we get no sun. Those are realities that you may have to deal with if you end up living here. However, it doesn't bother me because I take advantage of winters. If you're like me and you enjoy doing winter sports, I highly suggest you take a day trip and head to one of our more than 40 ski resorts in Michigan. One of the best things about living in Michigan is the day trips. But if you're not a fan of the cold, you might not like living here because there's not a whole lot to do in the winter unless you decide to enjoy the snow. Tons of Michiganders try to make the best of winters and head to these resorts, whether it's just a regular weekend or a holiday weekend. And if you go check it out, you'll see that parking lot is full and that there are tons of people enjoying our awesome winters. But it's not winter all year here. You gotta learn to take advantage of the outdoors if you're gonna live in Michigan. And although winters are harsh, summers can be harsh too. We typically see temperatures in the 80s for most of the summer months, but temperatures can exceed 100 degrees. Luckily, we have a ton of inland lakes and we're surrounded by the Great Lakes, which allows you to go hang out and play in the water if you want. Whether you're into boating or you just want to find a local beach, you're going to have plenty of options of places to explore. Or if you're like me, you're going to take advantage of the spring, summer, and fall months and go find some big fish. One of the negatives that you may find if you're a young person considering moving to mid-Michigan is that there's not a whole lot of entertainment or nightlife. The good news is that Detroit and Grand Rapids feature a ton of opportunities for entertainment, whether it's going to a theater and watching your favorite musical artist or comedian, or if you just want to go explore the cities. Each of these cities tend to be less than an hour from where you're living if you're living in mid-Michigan. If you want to stay in town, there's a lot of other cool options like breweries and restaurants and a lot of small businesses to check out. One of my favorite things about living in mid-Michigan is that we really value small business. This has led to us having some super cool bars and restaurants that you're going to want to check out. Whether you're more into creative comfort food and food trucks or you want to find a staple like a barbecue restaurant, you're going to have no problem finding a new restaurant every time you want to take a date night. One of my favorite things is going to a brewery in town, trying one of their personally made beers, and then ordering some of their kick-ass food. Another thing that I truly despise about living in mid-Michigan is the roads. As soon as you get here, you'll realize that most people are driving all-wheel drive, SUVs, or crossovers. You don't see a lot of sports cars with the low-profile tires, and that's for a reason. Our harsh winters and varying temperatures all winter cause the roads to get pretty damaged. And if you're not careful, you'll be wrecking your rims driving through these massive craters, aka potholes, that they do not fix unless they absolutely have to. All this damage on the roads during the winter and spring just leads for almost every road to be shut down all summer while they're repairing them. So it's this cycle of driving on crummy roads all winter and spring, and then turning around and having to wait for all of the construction traffic to pass all summer long. So this creates this chain of driving on crummy roads all winter and spring, and then waiting for the traffic that's caused by the construction on the roads all summer. Now I'm going to stay mostly out of politics in this video, but I do need to address that we are kind of a split state. And what that means is whether you're a Democrat or Republican, whatever you believe, you're going to be able to find your people. There are a ton of rural areas in mid-Michigan, which may allow you to, settle down in a more rural area, get away from people, and find some hobbies that are going to allow you to be outside of the city if you prefer that. However, you can also pick to live in one of the suburbs or the cities and enjoy that as well. With the cities hosting a lot of progressive thoughts and forward thinkers, We are one of the states with the most dispensaries. That's right, I'm talking about marijuana. Whatever city you're around in Michigan, you're going to be a stone's throw away from a dispensary of some kind. This can be really cool if you decide to partake, but it may bother you if you're not into that. Whether you decide to partake or not, I highly suggest you go check these out because these are absolute state-of-the-art facilities and they have some pretty cool setups. So as I mentioned, we don't have a ton of entertainment or nightlife options in mid-Michigan, which means most people that come here decide to live in mid-Michigan for either work or school. There are some seriously massive companies in the area that hire a ton of people. One being the state of Michigan, which is located in Lansing, Michigan. Another being the universities, one of which is in East Lansing. And this drives a ton of the East Lansing and Lansing population to be devout MSU fans. If you're not into college sports, this may seem kind of overwhelming to you when you first arrive. But whether or not you choose to get involved, it'll only be a short period of time before you realize how diehard these fans are. If you're looking for something to do, you can always check out the schedule for one of the many universities' sports teams in the area. Whether you're more into basketball or football, you're definitely going to want to check out some of these games. On a Saturday in the fall, there's nothing more fun than going to an MSU or U of M football game. The tailgating is a ton of fun, and it's something that you can get the whole family into. Another awesome thing about mid-Michigan is that there are farmers markets and festivals all year long. So whether you're more into art or music festivals, you're going to want to check out the community calendars and jot down the dates of what you're interested in. The Lansing area hosts Taste of Country, Prime Music Festival, and Common Ground, which are massive music festivals that kind of appeal to different genres. East Lansing hosts an art festival every year, which attracts thousands of people. In Lansing, there's a scrap fest where artists can enter their sculptures made out of scrap metal and compete to win a prize at the end. All of these are up for auction throughout the Scrap Fest, and it's an awesome thing to attend. As I mentioned before, Detroit and Grand Rapids are a short drive away, so if you're looking for more things like these festivals, you're going to want to check out those calendars as well. Another thing I really love about the area is the awesome choices for groceries and shopping. Although we don't have a Trader Joe's yet, there is one coming. And other than that, we have great options like Meijer for daily trips, Kroger for groceries, and we also have some awesome local butchers in the area if you want to get fresh meat and fresh vegetables. If you're looking for bulk savings, we have all of the options when it comes to the wholesalers. We have Sam's, we have BJ's, and we have Costco. And unlike many big cities, these stores are much less busy than you'd expect. Speaking of Meijer, the new Capital City Market in downtown Lansing is awesome. The market is focused on bringing customers a mix of fresh, local, and convenient food at low prices. If you want to check out an even more unique grocery option, you're going to want to head over to Grand Ledge, which features Horrocks. This is my girlfriend and I's favorite place to go on a summer weekend. And as weird as that might sound, I'll explain why. Not only is it a grocery store with everything you can imagine, but it's also a greenhouse with tons of plants you can look at even if you're not going to buy them, and a beer garden where they serve local craft beers to guests who may be shopping or just hanging out at their awesome location. Horrocks Beer Garden tends to have food trucks pulling up so you can get an assortment of different Lansing craft food or order one of their awesome pizzas. This is one of those places you really got to kind of check out on your own because I can't do a good job of explaining it on here. I probably sound like a weirdo who goes and hangs out at a grocery store on the weekends, but I promise it's one of the coolest things in mid-Michigan. Now let's talk a little bit about what it costs to live in mid-Michigan. The median income in Michigan is about $60,000 for a household. And although that's a little bit lower than the national average, it's not by much. The good news is the cost of living in mid-Michigan is about 6% less than if you were to live in Grand Rapids. The cost of living in mid-Michigan is about 12% less than Detroit, and it's about 2% less than most cities in Ohio. While talking about the cost of living in mid-Michigan, the average home price is about $200,000. Here's a look at one of my listings that I just sold. As you can see, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I'll go through some of the photos so you can take a look at it. This home's actually in East Lansing, which is one of the more expensive markets in mid-Michigan. In comparison to the rest of the state, Detroit and Grand Rapids specifically, along with most of the cities up north, mid-Michigan is going to be one of the most affordable areas to live. One of the last things I want to finish the video off with is talking about how much I enjoy the Great Lakes. Obviously, with being Michigan, that is one of the staples of Michigan. And the good news is if you're living in mid-Michigan, it's about an hour drive to either of the Great Lakes that are on the east and west side of us. So to get to Lake Michigan, where you're going to enjoy a lot of the sandy beaches, you can easily get over to Holland in less than an hour. Grand Rapids is another area you can head out to enjoy Lake Michigan. And then on the east side of the state, obviously we have Lake Huron. That has less of the sandy beaches, more of a rocky area. But if you're into boating or you just want to go enjoy a beach that literally looks like Florida in the summer here, it's awesome to head over there. Also, if you head up north, you can go up to the sand dunes on the west side of the state. Go to Sleeping Bear Dunes, which is a staple of Michigan, or to Silver Lake, where we have one of the biggest areas of sand for off-road vehicles. So there's a lot of stuff to do as far as enjoying the outdoors, enjoying the water, and just enjoying our state. So that's where I'm going to leave you on this video. Throw in the comments if you have some other stuff you want me to talk about. I'm going to do a pros and cons part 2 as well, probably in about a month or so, once I've gotten feedback from you guys on what you want to hear about. Again, if you're thinking about moving to mid-Michigan, be sure to reach out to me. I've helped a lot of people, especially through my past YouTube channel, relocate to this area or determine if relocating to this area is right for them. So if you're in that position, you're considering moving to mid-Michigan, but you don't know if it's right for you, be sure to give me a call or shoot me a text or connect with me through social media. All of that's in the description. But my number is 517-243-5528. That's the number you can text or call, and I'd love to help you decide if this is the right spot for you.